Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Here is Sasha the Guzzi Dog, been protecting me from squirrels. She does a fantastic job, haven't been attacked lately. Anyway, back to Guzzi engines. And what have we got here? Well, we've actually made a bit of progress on this whole bugger. Parts came from the United States, dispatched in good time by the dealer, and delivered in their own time by their postal services. Still can't complain too much. They did get here, and there's border crossings to deal with. But anyway, all's good. Now, 74 Guzzi engine. Eldorado has a cam chain drive, not a gear drive. Oh dear. Would have preferred gears. Gears don't need any maintenance. Bolt the front cover on and forget. Now, chains need maintenance. To wit, they need adjusting. And this is the original Moto Guzzi cam chain tensioner. Fits at the back there. And there's a rubber pad, or there should be a rubber pad right there. It rubs on the chain here. Well, this one turned into a gooey mess. And the rubber went all around the engine, coated everything in black, and was doing absolutely nothing. And so anyway, I wasn't going to put another one in like that, so I put one of these automatic cam chain tensioners in. They're not super expensive. I put one on my SP, and I think it was the same as this. It might have been slightly different, can't remember, it was 2 or 3 years back. But anyways, the problem you will find is that you have to fit the 3 sprockets on the chain at the same time, because there isn't enough room to put the sprockets on and then fit the chain. A, there's not enough room here, and B, the chain is too short for that. So you have to fit the sprockets inside the chain and fit all 3 at once, which is great if you have an assistant or you are a mutant with 3 hands. But as I'm not a mutant and I don't have an assistant, and Sasha doesn't have opposable thumbs, I have to work out a way of doing it myself. So anyways, the thing to do, because you've got to get it around the cam chain tensioner, is to compress the tensioner with a C-clamp or a G-clamp if you happen to be in England. Compress that bugger in as far as you can and then slip something like this over it there. This is just a piece of hollow square section tubing that I cut off. It's about 1.25 inches between the tabs. Could be a little shorter. You whack it with a hammer, but I made do with it this way. So that's a handy little thing to have. Just throw it in your toolbox. Okay, so we've got the chain out, we've got the tensioner out the way, we've got the chain loose. We managed to wiggle all 3 sprockets on, and these 2 have to be in the right place. They have to be timed. Obviously the timing marks have to match. The bottom one, the oil pump sprocket, doesn't really matter. The oil pump's happy to just turn in any time of its own and push oil around. It's a pretty happy thing there at the bottom. But there is a problem. There's a tiny thin tapered shaft, and there's a tiny woodruff key at the back of the sprocket that the sprocket has to slide onto. Now, you will find that as you are fiddling about with these and trying to get this on, that bloody sprocket, that bloody woodruff key will jump out and surprise you. So when you try to tighten up this nut, it won't go the whole way because the woodruff key is sitting at the back of it like that. It's popped out. So what I do is I clean it off with solvent, clean off the woodruff key with solvent, and super glue the bugger in. And then that makes getting this sprocket aligned with the woodruff key a lot easier, and it just held it for long enough, so that I was able to do that. Now then, another tip with this engine. This has to be done up pretty damn tight. I have seen torque figures of 108 foot-pounds, which is quite tight. And the way I got it off was with an electric impact. To it, this one here, and this is just a cheap one that I got from a large retail store in Canada here. Now, it was quite a struggle. I had to rattle them a bit. I had to rattle both of these to get them off quite a bit, but they did come off. So that sort of tells me that this is at the limits of this thing's ability. Now I have done a test on this to find out what the foot-pounds it gives, and I'm getting a reading on other bolts of between 100 and 115 foot-pounds. And as this one seems to need 108, that's getting my information from Greg Bender's page. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go with that. Rattle guns are so easy because all you have to do is hold the sprocket with a rag, rattle it up, and the job's done. You don't have to lock the engine. You don't have to risk damaging the flywheel. You don't have to risk damaging a conrod if you decide to lock the engine that way. So much easier. Anyway, right, while we're on the subject of tips and tricks, my favourite gasket goo, jointing compound, well sealed, as used by Rolls-Royce in their cars. Now that's the old Rolls-Royce. It's what the new Rolls-Royces use. I have no idea. Probably something wonderfully space Asian. Oh God, who knows? Who even knows who owns Rolls-Royce these days? At one time it was Volkswagen, the people's car, owning the rich people's car. Anyways, that aside, this is marvellous stuff. It is a non-setting jointing compound, and it's very heat resistant. You can use it on head gaskets, manifolds, anything, and it will not set. Now what I use, if it's a surface like, you know, cylinder base, and then I'll use it on both sides of a proprietary thin paper gasket. I don't try to use it without a gasket. You may be able to, but I've never used it that way. So if I have a cover, like the front engine cover, or say a rocker cover, so what I'll do is I'll put well seal between the cover and the proprietary gasket and stick her down with that. And then I'll use the jolly old copper coat, which is available in brush on or spray on. And then I'll put copper coat on here. And because copper coat is also heat resistant, it will stay there. Excuse my cardboard flopping down. The copper coat will stay there and allow as you tighten it down, it'll allow the cover to move into its natural position. Obviously, you do not want to use silicone on an engine. I hate that stuff. I think it's terrible. I've fixed 1 or 2 engines that have been full of that crap. So yeah, so use well seal. It's well worth it. There's a pun there. I get this over from England. There might be an equivalent in North America, but I haven't seen it yet, and I haven't delved into the chemical compositions or whatever. It might be a trade secret. Who knows? But £14 a tube from England. It's quite expensive, but it's the best. Okay, I think that is all I want to say about engines. Obviously, as we make more progress, I'll do another video. Oh yes, don't let your visit to the toilet be in vain. Old toilet rolls are great things to protect conrods. These are steel conrods, so not a lot of harm can come to them, but you could bash up the crankcase mouth here. And if you're working on British engines like BSAs, which are well known for throwing their conrods, it's worthwhile just sliding this on to avoid any bruises on your conrod that could cause a fracture due to vibration. So yeah, so don't throw out your toilet rolls. It'd be like Blue Peter. Remember Blue Peter when you were a kid at school in England? You make a nuclear reactor out of toilet rolls and washing up liquid bottles. Anyway, joking aside, good little tip. So there we are. So it's goodbye from me. And it's goodbye from the Guzzi Dog. Take care of yourselves, look after one another. ride your Guzzis whenever you can. Stay safe and goodbye.